those of you who are a certain age remember when this Sunday we already go to church and we see the statues covered in purple. I don't know what the tradition here is at St. John's in Cabrini, but I'm sure we'll follow it somewhat. And the tradition comes from this gospel. When Jesus passed by and went out of the temple area and disappeared from the people. And doing that, covering the statues of the saints and the cross, was a kind of reminder that he's always with us, but then they cover it, and now he's gone. Now he's not with us. Very much like was going on in this gospel story. He walked right through the crowd because they were going to throw him off the ledge or they're going to stone him. Okay, but that's not the focus of the gospel. Focus of the gospel is Jesus and Abraham. Now, Abraham comes up in that dialogue between John and Jesus, but between the Jews and Jesus. But the reason is he is the origin of the Jewish faith. Abraham is the ancestor that we look to. We are Judeo-Christians. We're Christians, but we follow the tradition of Abraham. Jesus followed the tradition of Abraham. And it's no coincidence Jesus wasn't born in Italy or China or Puerto Rico. Jesus was born in the land of Abraham because the covenant, God's covenant, was made first with the Jews. And when God spoke to Abraham, he told him, you're going to be the father of many people, many generations. You're going to have children as many as the stars in the sky. It's quite a horde to feed. But you know what he meant. The people of Abraham, the people of the covenant. That's why right now in our society, there are so many anti-Semitic issues coming up. And it's so bizarre, especially for us Christians during Lent, to see our brothers and sisters of the Jewish faith being ridiculed on any level. And the rise of anti-Semitism is higher than it was last year. I think there are not enough people who are reflective of who they are. So when Abraham was told, you're going to be the father of many, many, many people, and I'll be with you always, all the people who follow Judeo-Christian teachings are the children of Abraham. You and I don't care where we come from geographically. That's not the issue. It's our faith. So, regrettably, I think even those who are making the anti-Semitic comments, regrettably, they're doing it in the name of Christ. And it's like house built against itself. It's falling apart. It doesn't work. It's like mocking your own ancestors, mocking your own faith, the origins of your faith. So this reading today on the cusp of Holy Week is significant for us. We come here, we see Jesus in the sacrament, we see Jesus in the images, but our faith goes back before Jesus. We believe Jesus, and that becomes the new covenant. You heard what happened with Abraham. God made a new covenant with him. God made a covenant with him. What's a covenant? An agreement. He said, I'll stay with you always, but I want one thing. I want you to respond to me. I want you to keep my laws of the covenant. So we're still obligated to keep the laws of the covenant. Is it the covenant God made with Abraham? Well, no. It was fulfilled in Jesus. So as we continue our journey of Lent and Holy Week, we focus our attention to Jesus and his laws, which supersede the covenant of Abraham, but includes it. He summarized that, somewhere when he said the greatest commandment is love your father and love yourself as much as God, and love your God as much as your neighbor. So we know Jesus fulfilled the old covenant of Abraham. But the covenant was the contract that God made with the people. I will give you the covenant. I will watch over you. I will take care of your people for all ages, but you are my people. I am your God, you are my people. That applies to us too. Our God, we say, is God the Father, of course. And Jesus epitomizes for us God. And he sort of refers to that in this dialogue with the Jews who weren't believing him. And he says, you think you believe in God, but you don't. Because what you're doing is focusing on laws rather than living the faith. And everything Jesus had to say was about how to live the faith: feeding, healing, loving, forgiving. That's how to live the faith. And that's the covenant. So the further dialogue between Jesus and Jesus and the Jews is interesting, because when God revealed himself to Moses, he eventually gave Moses his name. Now, Abraham, of course, is years before Moses. He was the nameless one. He had no name, God, Yahweh, and he had various titles. But the one God, the only God, is who Abraham was worshiping. We come to Moses, God reveals himself, and he revealed himself in the words that Jesus used today: I am. Tell Pharaoh, I am sent you. And Jesus today is sort of bringing it to a crescendo as the Jews pick up rocks to throw at him. He's making it clear, with all the things he's done, his miracles, walking on water, all that stuff, the summation is coming now. Who do you think you are? I am. Now, it sounds different in Hebrew, ego eimi, but that's what he's saying. And they heard that. They heard that I am. Not I am Louis SCURTI, I am Jerry Reynolds, no, I am. That's the name. And Jesus said, before Abraham, I am. What do you mean? Before Abraham, you existed? Get out of here. You're not even 50 years old. You can't. And Abraham was 1,000 years before this. Yes. Very interesting, in the burning bush story of Moses, and even in Jesus, God making this covenant with Abram, who changed his name to Abraham. What's interesting is, implied in Jesus' words is, I was there. I was in the burning bush. I was making the covenant with Abram. What do you mean? I'm saying that because I am. It sounds almost comical, but that phrase says it all. I am, his existence. But he's associating, and he is, himself with God. So when they say, how do you know Abraham? Before Moses, before creation, before anything, I am. If you fill in the sentence, I am God. But he didn't. He just used that phrase, the name. So again, even people who are Christian, don't want to accept that so often. Don't want to accept that Jesus, God, has made a covenant with us. And the covenant is, the commandments, but the summation of Jesus' covenant is, love one another as I love you. Those people who listen to that, who go to church, who pray about anything they want to pray about, cannot be anti-Semitic. They're going against themselves. They're going against their own values. They're going against their faith. So we have the audacity now to speak to I am through Jesus and ask him, give us strength. Give me openness. Let me understand this crazy world. Give me the focus that I can choose right from wrong. And give me the choice to do that, and the energy to choose right, to do what's right, even in face of temptation, in the face of anything, doubt, hate. I made a contract with Jesus Christ. We all made it. When we were born, in baptism, And each time we come up for the Eucharist, the covenant is renewed.